was Austin Powers, lost in translation with a whole fucking nation. They say I was the abomination of Obama's nation. Well, that's a pretty bad way to start the conversation. At the end of the day.
And welcome. This is the Lost in Translation podcast, episode 1. So, introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome to Lost in Translation. It's your boy King Wizard. I'm here with my buddy Terry. We're just gonna talk about a couple random ass social issues and things that I guess are unacceptable to talk about in places like social networks such as Facebook and whatnot. So we're just trying to put together a nice little small community. I guess we're gonna do it on YouTube, but we just want a place where we can talk about things that people don't normally talk about because everybody gets triggered and stuff. So. We're just trying to discuss that, but, where would you like to start, Terry?
And, I just wanted to start by saying, my main goal for this podcast is to hopefully, offer some different opinions on these issues that you would normally get when dealing with other people. Because everyone mostly nowadays seems to be on the same coin, and you can't really get anything that's really concrete or something different because it's all getting lost in the echo chamber. So I'm hoping with this podcast, that's why we called it Lost in Translation, to decipher some of that bullshit. So we can better elaborate, because I feel like everything nowadays is mostly metaphorical speaking and shit like that, and it's constant, and it's very obvious to me that these things happen to.
I feel like the biggest problem we face nowadays, though, is like it isn't even as much as about like shit getting lost in translation. Don't get me wrong, like that's obviously a huge ass key. It's why we named our podcast what we named it. But at the same time, like I feel like another big ass issue is like this politically correct movement, man. Like it started out as something that seemed innocent. It started out as something that seemed like it was meant to help people. Like, okay, you don't say that because that's offensive to so-and-so. Or, and that was cool. That was a cool gesture at first, but now that's like almost a trump card, So if you say something I don't like, I can immediately, okay, well, I'm offended. Okay, you out of line for that. I'm fucking pissed because he offended me. And now they got a whole group of people coming at you because of something you said. And that's crazy. Like, it almost like this whole politically correct movement, and please correct me if I say anything out of line, but it just seems like this whole PC movement has it hasn't silenced it, but it's kind of put a watchful eye on this whole thing we like to call freedom of speech, right or wrong.
Well, if we're going to be honest here with freedom of speech, it's more so freedom of speech is meant to protect you from your government, persecution from your government.
Okay. You're right. Okay.
From other people.
I guess I'll say freedom of expression. That makes more sense now, because you can't say what you want to say. You can't truly be you, because you have all these people telling you what you are and aren't allowed to say, how you can and can't think, And I don't know, it's just kind of crazy to me. But basically, guys, we got like a lot of random topics today, and granted, like a lot of them are kind of some of those issues we don't like talking about, And to be honest, Terry is a pretty cool guy. He's not going to say anything crazy and out of line, nor am I. Actually, that's a complete fucking lie. I'm probably going to say things out of line.
I'm going to be honest with you guys, too. I'm not always... This isn't going to be one of those podcasts where we're sniffing each other's asses and agreeing with each other the whole time. It's not always going to be that. We'll more than likely come to blows about a lot of these things. Well, not literally come to blows, but more so we'll find ourselves in a heated debate about some of these topics. That's what I'm hoping to accomplish here. Different opinions, because we are two different people, so we can then approach this from two different perspectives because we don't think the same. And I feel like everybody nowadays wants everyone to think exactly alike instead of allowing you to accomplish these things in real life.
And like I really encourage everybody whoever gets a chance, come through and listen to these things, please drop your comments, because God knows I will be looking at all of these comments. I would love to get other people in on the podcast as well, and get to just kind of make it an interactive thing. Like, because as I said when we first began, I don't want it to be a thing where people show up, listen to us talk, blah, blah, blah. Fuck that. Who cares about that? Like, we're not trying to make like a thing out of this. Like, I legitimately want people's opinions. I legitimately want to know how, everybody else is feeling and stuff. Because I feel like, and Terry, if I'm right or wrong, you can vouch for me on this, right? Like, I tend to make generalizing statements, right? But that's because I don't hear enough different opinions, you know what I mean? So I just do like typical Americans and try to group a group of people who, I'm not saying me, but like just kind of like how America does. Like they kind of group a group of people who look like, okay, oh, you guys out here dressed like that and you're looking like this. You guys are probably thugs. Oh, well, you like Trump? Well, you're racist. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the type of shit people do. But like that's not it's not really what I'm out here doing. But like I just encourage you guys to talk to us, and please just give some feedback in general. Where you want to start at, Terry?
Well, I believe we actually were having like a small little discussion before we started recording. So maybe we can start back there and work our way up from there.
All right, granted, guys. Now, this is not how we're always going to do our podcast. This is just something that I just wanted to try out today just for funsies, I guess. Right now, I'm going to bring up a bunch of random-ass issues with my boy Terry and just kind of ask him what he feels about them and kind of give my 2 cents, get his 2 cents. But granted, there's a shit ton of issues. They are all controversial, so I guess we're going to start.
I'm hoping to add in a little bit more structure, too. Maybe like for the videos, trying to add in some areas so people can like skip to some of them and listen to what they want to listen to and maybe just dive out. Maybe they don't care about some of the other shit that we're talking about, so they can just skip that and get right into what they actually care about. Yeah.
So okay, once again, this isn't any attack on anybody's political affiliation or none of that, but I'm legitimately curious right now. So the immigrants should be deported if they commit a serious crime. Like let's say they're a legal immigrant, but they commit a serious crime. So I'm a legal immigrant from Mexico, Canada, what have you, and I fucking go rob a bank or something. I fucking got caught with like a kilo of drugs. Like, should I be deported for that, or since I'm a citizen now, should I be treated like a normal citizen, or just be like, okay, fuck this guy, he's your guys' problem. Like, how do you think these things should work?
I personally feel there's levels to this. Like, to me, it really depends on the crime, how long they've been in America, and I'd say it's just how long they've been in America and the crime. Because to me, like, if the person is of legal,
I think it's absolute question.
Come on, man. What? Come on, let me hear it.
I'm for real, but go ahead though, because I'm going to tell you exactly why. And honestly, you might agree after you finish your thought. You might actually agree, but there's a key word to this, in which that makes me feel like everything you just said is just it's kind of hypocritical.
I mean, well, let me go there. Fine. Look, right. So if you are like a legal immigrant of legal standing, and you commit a crime, and you shouldn't be deported back to Mexico because you committed this crime, because you're an official American citizen at that point. Like, if you're a legal immigrant and your visa allows you to stay here to make a life for yourself and shit like that, I feel it's entirely within reason that you should be detained in American jails because you're no longer a Mexican citizen. That's when we welcome you into our arms as an American citizen.
That's kind of funny that you see. I thought you was gonna go another way with it, like, and I'm pretty sure you were, but like, I kind of felt like that's my mindset too. Like, and I think like the key word of this was citizen. You know what I mean? Citizenship. So, irregardless, I don't give a fuck what you do. You can try to go kill the president of the United States, like, but like, you should be dealt with as an American citizen. Will be dealt with because that is what you came over here for. That's what you did. You gained citizenship of this country. So under no circumstances, absolutely no circumstances, should we ever deport one of our own citizens to a country that they came back from, because if that's the case, then, like, just don't fucking let them over here in the first place. Just do not accept this individual if they can do anything that would make you want to get rid of them. Like, that's just absolutely crazy to me. Like, it's a surprising number of people that agree with this, though. They said if they commit a serious crime, yes, they should be deported, and it's crazy. Like, granted, by no means did I get this from fucking like a United States poll, nothing crazy, but I did get it from a very credible newspaper.
It's credible.
Not sure
It's
if
credible.
you guys listen to the like the New York Times or just Time Magazine in general or the Washington Post, but it's come from these sources. Granted, it's not us, because God knows I didn't vote on this topic, and probably not anybody listening to this podcast. But at the same time, it's so overwhelming the amount of people that disagree with us on this. And they said 87% of people said, hell yeah. If an immigrant commits a serious amount of crime, I don't care what country they're from, send those motherfuckers back. And that's crazy to me. Like, how many people like agree with that shit? Like, it's almost like, I don't know, it's crazy. And then and that's exactly what all the people who said no to that as well. They said if they have entered the country legally and are United States citizens, they shouldn't be deported. I agree with that.
That's one of those things to me, because like they're officially a United States citizen. This person is here. Like, if that's the case, then we should deport anyone. Like, we should deport anyone of any ethnic like diversity from American people. Like, we should deport. Like, are we going to start deporting African Americans for committing crimes that were born here?
But that's the one problem with being an African American, though, is that you were technically born here. Like, and so were your grandparents, and so were their parents. So, I don't know. Like, that's different to me in that regard, because it's like, but I see what you're saying though, and I completely agree. Like, that's crazy. It's like if a fucking Italian person like decides like go and start a mob, this motherfucker gets arrested. Okay, we're sending you back to hold on. We'll figure out where your great grandfather's from, and we're getting you the fuck out of here. Like, that's crazy to me. But look, surprisingly enough, some people did say something that was a very interesting point to me. They said, because the question once again, should immigrants be deported if they commit a serious crime? And a lot of people said yes. But there was a small percentage of people who said yes, and then they put an asterisk there. They said yes, but after they finish serving their sentencing. So basically, after, like, let's say they commit the crime, and then we give them like 20 years, blah blah blah. They'll do those 20 years, then we send them back. That I don't know. Like, to me, like, I still feel like they're a United States citizen, but I think it should be that person's choice.
Yeah, I personally agree with that. I feel like at that point, there's because once again, like, they're an American citizen. They've obviously proven, because one of the things to me, you basically coming in here, you've basically established that this is what you want, right? You've established that you're here for that, and then when you commit that crime, it's after you serve that sentence. To me, that's where I basically feel like this is where it's like, this is where I feel like this is one of those gray areas, because after you committed the crime here, why should we send you back where potentially you can get away with this crime and still enjoy your freedom? Like, what if you murdered someone? The person you murdered is no longer able to enjoy their life. But if we deport you,
depending
how
on
do we
whether or
know
not
that
the country that likes the United States, like, they might let that person get away with it. Like, we kind of agree with that. We're not giving him any fucking time. He's our problem.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree with that. But then someone also said that, this is my favorite one. This is my favorite one that I've seen so far. I agree with this one wholeheartedly. They said, yes, they should be sent back so long as it's safe for them to return to their country. So, like, for instance, like, Mexico is just, I'm not going to try to speak on Mexico like I live there. I have a friend, a very good friend of mine named Christian Murguia. He's been in the United States for about 10 years. I went to high school with him and stuff. But he told me that there is definitely a lot of crime in Mexico. There's a shit ton of crime. The government is fucking like 70% corrupt, with like people who are basically just delegating drug deals and drug trafficking and things like that, and advocating for people to go and just get their fucking heads chopped off and hang in the streets and shit. So it's kind of like civil unrest over there, like it's fucked up. So, but at the same time, like, I think where I look at it as, I just wouldn't want people going back to a country that's like at war, if that makes sense.
Once again, this is one of those times where I'm gonna have to say that it really depends. It depends on the crime for me. Like I said, if you violated someone else's civil rights, like I said, if you killed someone, to me, that's one of those areas where I feel like it's really out of my hands, because I feel like you killed someone lost their life, but you get to keep yours.
Yeah. So, exactly.
So,
I completely agree with that. It's blasphemous.
I don't care if you're safe. To me, you gotta go. You didn't care about the person's safety when you probably put a bullet in them,
raped him.
All that shit.
Basically, all right. Got another good one for you. Now, this is the kicker. This is a little modern day. This is a little bit more right now. Should the U.S. build a wall alongside its southern border? Is that shit necessary?
Depends on how deep the wall is.
What do you mean
really depends. Because it really depends on if it's going to stop something or not.
Exactly, and that's my biggest thing. Like, I don't think, look, we can all agree that there needs to be some type of divide, some type of separation that stops drug trafficking from the southern countries and just southern continents in general. That includes Brazil. I'm not blaming everything on Mexico. We do need some type of divide, but at the same time, like, I don't know, like, see, this is a crazy ass topic for me to even ask, because like now I've conflicted myself with my own question, because now I'm at the point where I'm like, well, is it even really worth trying to stop this drug trafficking, trying to pretend we're gonna do all of that when the United States, like for instance, like, and this isn't even something like, and I don't want people to get a conspiracy things about this. I'm actually gonna look up the documents. I will post the link in the fucking description. Our government brings these drugs in. Like, we fund this shit, because if we didn't have all these drug problems, all these things, we wouldn't need all these fucking police. So then all these guys wouldn't have salaries. We wouldn't need all this fucking judicial system, because most of it is because of drugs. For instance, all the crimes, damn near all the crimes. As far as from murdering to organized crime, to mass murdering, all the way down to petty shit, like petty theft, breaking and entering and shit like that. Okay, so the breaking and entering could be like a fucking drug addict who felt they needed to get their little fix, so they tried to break in someone's home. Now, that small break-in can go fine, as in the regard that the person who's breaking in, doesn't get hurt, no one in the house gets hurt, blah, blah, blah. They get in, get something to steal, they can get out. But then it could also go left. Somebody could fucking die. The person breaking in could die, or they could harm someone who lives there, maybe even a child, because of wanting to get a drug. And then, so it goes so far. And we almost fund this shit ourselves.
It's kind of, I don't think so. We can, I'm not saying that, like, the United States government may not be involved in the drug trade, because once again, to me, the drug trade in America is $1 billion business. I'm almost certain at this point that America may have a hand in it, but directly...
We don't want to say that for sure. As if, like, we know.
Yeah, because to me, you're speaking in certainties when really...
Okay, you're right.
You're speaking with the high,
I want it to be noted that this is definitely speculation, strong speculation, but this is indeed speculation. But, as I said, I will post links in the description and you make your own opinion. We're not trying to convince anybody of anything here. We're not trying to tell somebody that we're right. And that's why, I do appreciate you bringing up that point, Terry, because I was kind of like, even when I look back at myself, like, damn. Okay, he is right. I was kind of speaking and like, this is going on, and like, no, it's not the fucking case at all by any means. But I think there's a very good chance. I mean, we can even look back during like the whole Watergate scandal and stuff, and with like Reagan and things like that. Like back then, like there is legitimate documentation on. I'm not saying that this is still happening. There's legitimate documentation though. So I don't want to hear nobody like, where's the documentation? Where's the document? Okay, I'll show you that. There was legitimate documentation of basically there was a war going on in Cuba. Cuba was having its own little civil war trying to overthrow their dictators. They needed to be funded, like they didn't have money and things like that. And we didn't want to just go straight up fund these fucking rebels to overthrow their own government, because that would have got us into it with Cuba. And that's kind of really fucking close for us to go to war with people with nukes and shit. Also, they had allies. I forget who their ally was at the time. I want to say Germany. Most likely I'm wrong, and I'm not trying to act like I'm right. Like, there's a 3% chance I'm fucking correct about this.
Closed mouth gathers no foot.
Huh?
I said closed mouth gathers no foot, so, you know.
Yeah, but basically they were having a war. They needed to be funded. We got cocaine
Basically
from them.
what's going on now
drug
in
dealers.
Syria, if you count that.
See, I don't know about that, but basically, like, hold on, just let me finish this real quick. Basically, and this legitimately happened. They needed to be funded, so we got drugs from them, like cocaine, heroin, such opiates. We brought it here, gave it to people in inner cities. Los Angeles was one, Chicago was another, New York was also another. Maybe Miami and a couple more, I'm not sure, but I do know those three specifically for sure. For instance, there's a guy named Freeway Rick Ross. Dude from LA. Basically, they did this to him back in like the 80s. He was a young dude. He was already like selling weed and things like that. And they brought him cocaine. Basically, there's a whole documentary about it as well. There's legitimate CIA paperwork as well that was in his fucking court documents and stuff. They can't hide it because it was a part of his paperwork. You guys can go look all that up. But basically, these motherfuckers was running around handing people cocaine so they can sell to like inner city communities, and basically told them, like, look, you have to sell this to these communities. When you do that, you're gonna make money, you're gonna be rich. So these people were getting money, but all the money they were getting from them, they were using that money to fund the little war or whatever. So all I'm saying is, to me, I can kind of see it, but you're right, we're not gonna speak in certainties about this stuff nowadays. But back to the topic though, because we did get kind of off topic. I personally think we should have some type of divide. I don't know if a fucking wall is gonna do anything. Like, that's funny as hell to me. Like, it just seems like another reason to waste taxpayer dollars to keep us in debt even further. Like, to me, like, it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Like,
Once again, at the very least, the worst comes to worst, you're putting money at least in the hands and creating a few jobs out of it. That's worse. That's the worst of it.
okay. And I see you trying to reach for some type of positivity out of this, and I understand that. But all I'm saying is, are these jobs? Are these jobs for the duration of this wall being built? Are these jobs that a few people are going to get compared to the number of people in America? Are these jobs?
Well, it's the nature of the wall.
Billions of dollar debt that we're about to be in for making this wall.
Well, once again, we can't really determine that from what's.
Then we're going to have to pay for it to maintain it as well. And I understand you're right. We don't want to speak in certainty. So, once again, I like the fact that we're doing this on a podcast, because we'll be able to go back and see things and stuff like that, because I'm definitely going to go back and provide the documentation after I look it up and stuff. I'm definitely going to go back and find from people in our government, politicians and things, saying about how much money this shit's going to cost, because it is in billions. But think about it. We're going to have to build it. It's going to be a couple billion. Then we're going to have to maintain the wall, too. So, granted, there's going to be jobs made for people to build it, but there's also going to be jobs needed, positions needed to be filled for people to maintain its safety, maintain that motherfuckers aren't just digging underneath it, maintain that the bitches aren't just tossing shit over the top of it, or people, for that matter. But what's funny to me, what is fucking hilarious to me, though, is how much we think these people sneak across the border, like they're just some type of fucking pack rats. I was watching this, like Terry, you know me. On my free time, I'm looking up random ass shit. I saw this video of the Mexican president basically telling, it was on CNN, not saying that that's a fucking credible place because none of these are, but some of you might be like, oh yeah, that's credible, but but nonetheless, it was on CNN, and he's like talking and telling them like about, because Donald Trump is like basically saying, telling the Mexican president, you're gonna pay for this wall. And he's like, we're not paying for shit. Because we don't even want that in the first place. We're not paying for that because it's retarded. Because he knows, and so did a couple other people who, I believe he was the former Mexican president as well. He was on and I say Mexican as in the country of Mexico, not Mexican. But he was on a radio show in Mexico, and he had told them basically, like, he said it's funny that he's trying to like build a wall because like 87, he said, what is it, like 87% of us, like, we get here on planes, so that's stupid basically. And like, I'm like, damn, he's right. So is this wall really even worth building?
I can't really speak in either direction of that because, like I said, I don't look up most of this stuff. But I feel personally that some people need, but at the very least, it really depends on how deep this wall is and other factors, you know, because at the very least we do need a proper border at the very least to stop. Even if we only cut out like 23% of people and get better border control and immigrant control, we can at the very least slow down. But we have to basically discuss this, like, because some people in general just have a problem with saying, with like this whole immigrant thing in general. You know, people will say like, yo, I don't personally agree with X, Y, and Z, and I feel personally that we should be able to then we should welcome in everyone because this country was built by immigrants and so on and so forth, you know. But this is one of those issues to me personally where I feel like this can't really be approached as you approach any other issue, right? Because like I said, to me it's like the way the current market is flowing, right? If I tried explaining this one time while we was at work where someone had said like that they feel that there's no reason to improve, like getting rid of Mexicans, really, that's just going to remove, like, some of the things that people care about. There's, like, who the hell is going to work picking strawberries and apples and shit like that on these farms and shit for, like, for pennies and shit like that, basically. And I was like, well, if you think about it, well, if the supply of these precious, of these, like, not even precious resources, but of these natural resources like apples and oranges and shit like that, as these things become more scarce, and there's no one willing to work these positions, farmers, to me, will then have to charge more, therefore pay more. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and that makes complete sense to me. Both ways.
So then that would create literally hundreds of jobs. I
saw a lot of memes though, where like a bunch of black people were saying that like black people are gonna have to do that. That shit kind of made me laugh.
That to me isn't the case, but
well, it doesn't matter to me whether it was or it wasn't. It's just funny like how they always go back to the same like slave mindset though. Like, oh my god, they're trying to make it. Like, shut up, get out of this state of oppression and just go work.
Well, I don't know if that's. I can't really. Once again, I can't really speak yeah or nay on this issue here. Black people, though. I personally. This is important. This is one of those areas. Since we're already on this topic of black people, do you want to maybe ask a question that may relate to some current movements or something like that?
It sounds like you're trying to get me started on a Black Lives Matter.
Maybe. I mean, what are your thoughts? I personally, I'm in one of those gray areas again with the Black Lives Matter movement. And SJW is
one of those moves to see me get triggered. What's your real goal here?
No, let me speak. See, look, you remember that time when I had told you about something and someone that works around here had once said that what's the problem with being an SJW? Is it wrong to seek fair treatment for everyone? Is it wrong that you want everyone to personally feel accepted for who they are? So this is one of those times.
Yeah, and I remember me and you discussed that, and once again, even that, like, I still put that SJW movement right alongside the fucking PC movement. Like, it's something that sounds good for you to use as a trump card to, you know, like, if somebody says something that you disagree with and you just, okay, well, you're just being offensive, you know, and then, like, think, like, you can, like, kind of basically cower behind that as a way to, like, win an argument.
Well, it's like, I can try and put it into terms that would make it a little bit easier to deal with. Where like someone once commented on this YouTube video. It was back when Mafia 3 was about to be released, and people were up in arms about the main protagonist of that game, and they felt that it should be called Mafia 3. Yes. Well, Italian, really. And
yeah. But still, white males. Like, because this dude's clearly not fucking white. If anything, he looks kind of Hispanic. So, yeah, I remember you said that to me. I'm like, that's just funny to me, man.
Well, like, once you, like, take into account, like, based on some of the things they said, this person in particular that commented on this video to me, the comment I remember at the time making me laugh because he said, and I quote, I'm speaking in quotes here, he said, niggas can't even do organized crime. He said niggas that get together to go kill one man and do a drive-by to kill this man wind up shooting up the whole neighborhood, missing entirely the person they came to kill, and end up killing like several kids, and now they walk away a mass murderer.
I feel like he's generalizing.
But when you think about it, most drive-bys performed by people in urban areas are very ineffective, and they do end up hurting more than the person.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like, you can't just try to like basically trying to say black people are bad shots. Like, and you can't just like once again, like, you can't just try to generalize.
You can kind of say that though, for the most part.
I have several good friends though. Like I'm just saying, I have several good friends that can vouch for me. Like, as you all know, I kind of went to high school in kind of a extremely wealthy area, so like I got to experience a lot of things that I wouldn't have if I'd have been in the inner city. But all I'm saying is, like, I was exposed to different stuff. Like, I got to go to the shooting range a lot with a couple of my buddies, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm actually really, really, really fucking good at it. Like, really fucking good at it. So, like, to claim everybody's not a good shot is just bullshit. Like, granted, everybody wasn't like fucking trained to go do that shit. So I can still understand that, but don't try to just make it like a thing about black people. Like, hell, okay. How about this? Okay, since just black people are bad shots, what about that little white kid that tried to shoot up everybody in that church and only killed about 9 people? I'm not saying, once again, like, might get the fucking United States government after me for this statement, but I really don't care. I'm not a fucking mass murderer, but had I been the jackass who decided that it was cool to go in there and shoot a bunch of people, I probably would have killed every fucking body in there, like, because you're the only person with a gun. Motherfuckers are running around. It's just target practice. So, how do you go in and, like, just kill 9 people, like, and then leave? Like, I was trying to start a race war. Like, you fucking retarded. Like, maybe had you actually killed everybody, like, people would have been upset. They're like, oh, it's just some random ass white kid, like, tried to kill some people. It's fucking retarded, man.
It was one of my favorite YouTubers would say that person was a Eugene, and he was just trying to get the Call of Duty kill streak, you know, but he still needed to work on. He was just trying to get the Moab,
but he failed. He failed right before he got his kill streak.
Yeah, I would say that'd be proper.
Realized that he was fucking playing search and destroy, and that he wasn't gonna get any response, so he just ran?
Yeah, just a little bit. So I would say that the problem with this would be where the main problem comes in to me.
Can we please, at any point, talk about this Black Lives Matter shit?
Sure, but let's switch topics again. We switch very frequently, but alright, let's go. Your thoughts? What do you feel about Black Lives Matter?
No. and that's what I'm getting to. And I only brought it up because you had mentioned it just now. You said, let's get into this type of topic. But I just want to kind of air it out. I want to explain that I fucking hate this entire movement. It's a poison to the community, as in like the African American community. And it's an extremely hypocritical thing. And I just kind of want to explain to people why I hate it, so they're not just like, oh, well, dude fucking hates black people and he's black, man. Fuck this guy.
Don't forget they'll also call you an Uncle Tom and everybody.
Yeah. And fucking Strong and all of that shit. Like, but nonetheless, like, by the way, you know, it's just kind of off topic. Shout out to my boy Minnesota, boy. He's holding it down. It's kind of fucking. He's been saying some outlandish shit. Like, and I remember back in the day, you feel me? And Terry, right or wrong, you can vouch for this. I used to agree with a lot of shit this man said.
This other boy gonna slap the shit out of you. I can tell you that right now.
He's gonna slap the shit out of me. Look, we're not even getting in. He's gonna slap the shit out of me because I said I used to fuck with all the shit he said. I don't agree anymore, so now it's getting violent. You know what? That does sound like a nigga moment, but Minnesota's not that type of nigga. Like, you feel me?
Minnesota was training to beat the shit out of IDubs for saying nigga. I'm just saying. Or nigger.
But I'm not saying nigga or nigger. I said simply, he said some shit I don't agree with, so now I have to, like, you're telling me I basically got to run around the city in fear of catching the ass whooping because I didn't agree with some shit. That's funny. But nonetheless, here we are. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter stands in solidarity. Hold on. My bad. I gotta find this retarded shit one more time. Understand who we are. A definition of state violence in the current state of the Black Union. Okay? I'm not doing that. I am about to read you guys the part of this shit that I find extremely hilarious. And like I don't know, I guess as my boy Drake would say, the kicker. This is what it is. This person says, I don't even know who wrote this, so hopefully towards the end I can get their name. Okay, Alicia Garza, Opal Tometi, and Patrice Colors. Guess these are the three dykes who started Black Lives Matter. Not that there's anything wrong with homosexuality. You know, God knows we got to keep it PC. But it says, I created Black Lives Matter with Patrice Colors and Opal Tometi, two of my sisters, as a call for black action after Trayvon Martin died. Blah, 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 blah. Goes on to start talking about the LGBT community. So, like, completely, like, Black Lives Matter went straight out the window. Like, it went to, like, the very next paragraph was titled "The Theft of Black Queer Women's Work." So, like, it immediately went straight into like lesbianism and stuff like that. And like that's like I just don't get it. And, like, this is what made me not even like this, not supporting this movement. But it's funny. I guarantee over half, okay, let's say over half, and God knows I'm generalizing, over half of the people who are probably in the streets marching, screaming Black Lives Matter after someone gets killed, like, even though they might have, I'm not even gonna get into this, but basically, I feel like none of them probably went to the website and saw that this website is truly, at the end of the day, and, like, I'm just gonna say it, okay? I'm not about to go in it and explain it because I feel like I've been over-explaining stuff. But basically, it's a website for the LGBT community, and it's kind of trying to piggyback this whole Black Lives Matter movement. And it's easier to do that because, like, it's harder to get, like, a ton of people to come out and support like like the LGBT stuff, especially people who like don't even care about who don't believe in that, blah blah blah, right? And but it's way easier to get a whole community of black people, who just I already can't wait for the next reason to jump up and go screaming how lives matter and all this shit. But like it's just funny as hell to me. Like it's just an entire LGBT community like promotion, kind of piggybacking like these young men's death, and I kind of think that's kind of fucked up. But I don't know. What do you think about it, though, Terry?
Well, personally, I honestly felt like I honestly didn't know enough about the Black Lives Matter movement until
just go to the website.
I believe it wasn't until I saw. Let me finish. It wasn't until the Lord Jamar interview on Vlad TV. I watched the interview, and after, like, it wasn't until Lord Jamar, personally, because to me, I felt like Lord Jamar, based on some of his previous interviews, I felt like he was very pro-black, and I thought that he would have, it was very, like, it felt very, like, extremely different when he said, when, I believe Vlad asked him about the Black Lives Matter movement and how Lord Jamar was in high disagreement with the movement and personally felt no connection to the movement and felt that the movement wasn't a true black movement.
It wasn't organic, and I believe that's the phrase he used. He said it's an inorganic movement because it was a movement that seemed like for instance, like he and like once again, like I can't advocate for any of this. I haven't looked into none of this, so we're not gonna. Once again, me and Terry want people to know we're not speaking with certainty amongst this topic specifically, but he claimed that it was like the movement was started by some like really wealthy guy named George Soros. And he's an older, he's an older white guy or whatever. But he doesn't even care about the movement. He just funded it. He just gave them the money to those three ladies who went and kind of started the movement and stuff like that. But like because of that, like. I agree with what he said, like, and that's kind of what he meant. He said it wasn't an organic movement because we didn't start it, we didn't fund it or anything, And I kind of, I'm not saying that bothers me, but like it did just seem kind of fishy, that it wasn't even our movement. So it's kind of almost like someone would like come to you, Terria, and tell you, hey, so-and-so's been talking shit about you, said he's gonna whoop your ass when he sees you, and then like you get all riled up, and then I go tell so-and-so the same thing, hey, so-and-so, Terry said he's gonna whoop your ass when he sees you, so he said it's on site. So now you guys already kind of riled up, whenever you guys see each other, I'm gonna make sure I'm there, but like not in the middle, so you can't be like, okay, well he said, nah, I won't even be present. So like now you guys see each other, black people, police officers, so now when you guys see each other, it's like, oh okay, hey, fuck you, blah blah blah, hold on, no, fuck you, like, I'm gonna whoop your ass, and then, okay, now, motherfuckers getting beat up by the police, but now they're like, oh, police brutality, but it's like, no, like, if you just look at the number of people who've been posting on Facebook, like, if a cop, next time I see a cop, I'm fucking them up, and then I saw, like, a bunch of people, like, even in the state of Indianapolis, the city of Indianapolis, like, people posting guns and stuff in, like, the ghettos, like, I wish a police officer would come around here, that's the last one of us, if they come down here, it's on site. So now you guys are literally threatening this entire police force of police officers, and over half of them, like probably a good 75% of them, like maybe even 80, do their job, really believe in their job, like really want to protect and serve the community. And you might have like a few people here and there who are just trying to get away with heinous things, and I understand that, it's life, it's gonna happen, but like. And I think that, guys, this is something that Terria taught me. Terria taught me not to generalize everything, because I used to do that a lot, right or wrong, Terria.
Yeah, so
that's something you taught me.
Yep.
That's something you taught me. And I think we gotta try to get other people to start doing that as well. So because one officer does something, or let's say 10 of them, and that's probably about as many as it's been that has killed African Americans who are unarmed and things, let's stop blaming like a few hundred officers in the grand scheme actions on the entire police force. Like, that's crazy. That's just crazy. Because then I feel like that just starts shit. You know, that just starts more problems than it's gonna fix.
I believe there was a video I actually remember seeing. It was I can't quite recall. It was this one video of this they were interviewing this one police chief, and he was basically speaking on how because I believe it may have been chief in Washington, where the guy basically said like every time a one black person, or maybe even two, that entire year, that was killed by one of us, is instantly hailed as a hero. But then we can't. Then to make it worse, then we have this this whole thing. Trying to put it in the words here. Trying to recall. It's been a while since I've seen a video where he said basically, after it's been, we get so many black people killed by other black people, then these things, but we have no one willing to speak up for those victims that were killed by other black people. But when one or two black people are immediately killed, it's like the next day someone's willing to jump up in arms and willing to, and that to me is one of those things where I personally am more so in agreement with what the police officer is saying, and I have to agree.
And I completely agree as well. But I feel like the reason, and I'm not saying it's okay or trying to rationalize it for anybody, but I think the reason that people aren't like talking about it and trying to help these individuals and trying to get the awareness to the fact that, like, you know, that we're killing our own people is because they don't know how to present that to other people in the community. Because because we all see it and we all want to say something about it, but like nobody knows how to like rationally like even word that and be like, hey, you know, because you're just gonna sound like everybody else. Like, and it seems to me like the only person that was able to evoke those emotions out of people was Martin Luther King, and like he is long freaking gone. Like it's over. It's not gonna happen anymore. So now it just seems like nobody knows what to say or how to say it or who to say it to. So
yeah, I feel like to me personally, black people at this point are just lost, and I can't really articulate it properly enough. But I would say that where people are like lost, that would be that like we're dealing with a situation where there's people on both sides that are wrong, but the proper way to fix it to me starts by identifying the problem. Because in any problem, first you have to admit it's a problem. And the problem is no one's really speaking up. You know, you can say like, yeah, this is this way because this is just how it is, you know. And like nobody's willing. We lost one person. To me, we've lost tons of people throughout history have been assassinated, to me, and still some people are still able to persevere and get shit done. To me, this is one of those times where we have to basically put the power back in the hands of the people. Like it takes a little bit of introspection on this part to look inside yourself and say, well, enough is a fucking enough. We got to get shit done, because at this point we got people dying on a large scale. Because to me, it comes across as like look at it from the way that white people look at it. Whenever a black person comes up to them and then says, hey, man, this is racist. You know, we're losing tons of people because your people in power and things like that are out here just killing hundreds of us. You can say that, yes, you can say that, but then to the white person, it obviously sounds hella hypocritical, because then all they hear on the news is every day, black male gun downs other black male, 12 dead because from suspected black shooters. These are the suspects. They got photos of the people that are suspected to be the murderer and things like that. Black male just killed his girlfriend and her 3 kids. You know, you would be like, wow, what the fuck? This is crazy. So then when you take these things into account, and then someone says, man, you're out here killing our people, and then they look at it and say, oh, who was this person? And then it's like, black male gunned down by police officer. Why was he gunned down? Oh, he was robbing a convenience store. Oh, he was or like in some of the instances where there may not be enough information.
And I think
where it's a Trayvon Martin issue to me, then that's one of those times where you can be like, well, there's too like you have to have enough information because like I said, I feel maybe Trayvon Martin did nothing. I honestly feel Trayvon Martin most likely did nothing, and it was just one of those racial profiling situations. Maybe from the information that I have of that situation, because the guy to me is a scumbag. You know, I forget his fucking name. George Zimmerman. That's his fucking name. To me, he comes across as a scumbag. The asshole was trying to sell the gun on eBay that shot Trayvon Martin. That to me is some scummy shit. You know. So in those instances,
I think we need to find a way to, like, the best way to fix the issue, though. And you're completely right on that too. But I think, I don't know, maybe a way to fix such an issue would be maybe people trying to work with law enforcement and trying to find a way to like rationalize and just kind of work with them in an effort to get criminals like this out of our own community, and then we'll stop being profiled like this in a manner. You know what I mean? Like with the less the shit stops happening, and then like, you know, once that is obviously seen to be dying down, and that shit's like kind of, once it becomes like an anomaly on TV to see or hear about someone like that being like someone from our community like harming somebody in our or in other communities, but anyway, like just once people in our community like that dies down, and it's not an everyday fucking thing, because it's an everyday thing right now, but once that dies down a little bit, I think it can kind of change the relations between individuals.
But to me, right now, the black community itself has allowed itself to build up ways to personally defend against doing the right thing. You know, if someone is trying to succeed and possibly achieve some things, they're then considered trying to act white. So then they can't. So then they feel personally that they don't no longer fit in with the peers.
Well, then let's make our entire community act white. Then let's have our entire community do that.
But no one's going to go for
the only people who's going to be outside.
There's too many people that are going to. To me, there's too many people going against it, right? For instance, if you try and tell the police, like, yo, this person fucking killed my mom or something along those lines, people are like, you're a fucking snitch, man. You should have handled it yourself. Why you get the cops involved in this? You know, we believe in vigilante justice and shit like that, you know. But then they say like, oh man, he killed this person for a good reason. They killed his cousin. To me, that's a never-ending cycle, you know. We need to teach people that it's just because you take an approach of talking and understanding the person that
this is similar to this conversation I had with my buddy earlier, but I'm not gonna use the names, but good friends. I actually went to high school with him. He's a dude that I met from like the inner city or whatever, but he lived where we lived as well, like in the suburbs and stuff, like. Not going into what circumstances got them there or whatever, but like his entire family lived out there. But long story short, I ended up meeting one of his younger brothers that moved to where we lived from Indianapolis, and it was just cool, like meeting them and stuff and just getting to know them. But like recently, found out that basically one of his younger brothers, I think he's 18 now, but he's facing. He's already been in prison for 3 years, like still like awaiting sentence and stuff. Actually, I'm not sure if he's in jail right now or if he's in prison. But long story short, he got caught with like a gun or whatever, and that gun was used to kill someone, and that someone happened to be one of his cousins. And he was in the car with one of his buddies, and apparently his buddy did it. Is what I've gotten from people from you know what I'm saying, close to the situation. So his brother told me that like his buddy's the one that actually did it, but like he doesn't want to tell on him. He doesn't want to snitch, and he's facing 56 years in prison, and he's apparently gonna take that time. Is what his brother told me earlier, because he's not a snitch. He's not a tattletale. And like my brother actually happened to be in the room, and I was talking to him about it, and I was like, so if you were in this situation, would you tell? He said, hell yeah, I'd tell. Especially because at first he was like, nah, I wouldn't tell. And I'm like, that's idiotic, man. Like, don't nobody want to be labeled a snitch and nothing crazy, but like at the same time, like I'm not about to like not. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna go out of my way to try to tell on somebody. You know what I mean? Because I think in that regard, to me, that's what a snitch is. But I'm not about to like lose my freedom over somebody else's bullshit. You know what I mean? And like take somebody else's blame for their crime. But basically, this man is facing 56 years in prison. And it's even funny, like, it's funny because my brother also changed his mindset once. I told him, like, yes, like, his friend killed his cousin. He was like, oh, hell yeah, man, I would have been told on him. I was like, yeah, yeah, me too. But I don't know, man, it's just funny. It's funny, like, what kind of loyalty do you have to a person like that? Like,
it's more so loyalty to the streets that raised you, you know? Like, you hold loyalty, because then when this person gets out, they no longer, in my eyes, and in a lot of other people's eyes, that we're looking at it from the perspective of someone who were then raised, like, say you had nothing, but then you got involved with a gang and things like that. Everything that you basically knew, you'd basically be forfeiting by telling on this person. Of course, you'd have your freedom back, but at what cost? You know, obviously you probably don't have the funds to even move out that neighborhood, because if you did, you wouldn't be there. So then everything that you know and the people that you do know, they no longer will probably even, like, you have officially isolated yourself and maybe even put yourself in danger, because now you can't escape. So in this person's eyes, maybe that 56 years seems like a far less sentence than forever being isolated from the people who he once hung with, once knew, once laughed with.
But now you're in a cage for basically the rest of your fucking life. It's because you have to also realize that you're in a community, and once you go to prison, like, you're in an environment full of criminals who've already been in prison and most likely are repeated offenders. Like, that's the only place a repeated offender can be if they're not free, is back in fucking prison. So, like, all these other institutionalized people, so you could easily get into some shit in there that you didn't even want to and end up, like, losing your fucking life. Or your asshole, like, or both. Like, because you didn't want to tell on somebody for some shit that you had nothing to do with. And, I don't know, to me it just doesn't seem worth it at all. At all. At all.
Well, honestly, you could ask me, like, yo, Jared, you know who killed this person, but the cops think it's you. Your ass is going to jail for 70 years. Nigga, I'm telling on his grandmama, his mama. I'm telling where this nigga stay at, nigga. I know where this. I know.
This is his social security number. Everything, like.
Nigga, I'm just saying. But that's just because to me, I personally feel like I hold, like, no person holds that much value to me that I'm going to lose time of my life, you know, for you and whatever false loyalties you people told me that I should believe in. But that's because I've never been personally gang affiliated or something or another like that, because to me, I don't even know nothing about that shit, man. Because to me, that type of living to me is stupid. Sorry, I got hiccups. But that's just me.
It's crazy. Okay, this topic right here might be badass. Like, this topic's power level is over 2,000.
Not 9,000?
Nah, that's like, trying to think of a topic that would be 9,000. Up. Give me a second. Gotta close my door. Black people.
Oh, well, that's man, this man's wild. But
hey, bro, it says should sanctuary cities receive federal funding?
What classifies as a sanctuary city?
A sanctuary city is a city that adopts local policies designed to not prosecute people solely for being an undocumented individual in the country which they're not living. So basically, it's a city that is allowing undocumented immigrants to live there and not penalize them, and also not tell the federal government that they have illegal citizens in their city. So should they still receive federal funding for like schools and just so on and so forth, like tax dollars and just stuff like that for the roads and just things that federal funding are typically used for?
I want to get your opinion first because I don't want to go in too heavy and then fucking come across as an asshole or something. You can go first. You can go first.
Nah, man, please go first. Please go first.
Being a taxpayer, I personally feel like they don't deserve federal funding. But that's me.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, and why do you feel they don't deserve federal funding, though, if I may ask?
Well, to me, it's a personal choice and opinion, but this is an issue that well, should we punish those that has no hand in the matter of, their city choosing to harbor illegal immigrants? Well,
but see, also the government of your city is still the government of that people, so that's something they have to take into account. For instance, if Dayton, Ohio decided to do that, then those individuals in Dayton, Ohio would have to deal with that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's up to the politicians, I guess, and the leaders of that city, basically how it's going to work out. Because you're right, and it goes without saying that, so schools won't have funding because they're allowing illegal immigrants' children to go to those schools. Roads and stuff like that won't be fixed and things like that because you're in a city where you're allowing people to live here legally and not pay. So basically, I guess people would be feeling like that they're paying money for stuff of an individual who doesn't even pay taxes. Can't pay taxes because they're an illegal immigrant.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess the best way to put this is that if you humanize these people, and then like look at it like, well, this is a person, like this person. I suppose that's where I feel like see, that's my problem. I always see it from like both angles. Like, well, obviously, I'm out here paying taxes, and this person, and I'm probably feeding someone who's not paying a damn dime, but they're basically able to get the same things as me and are on equal footing for the most part, but they just can't pay taxes. Well, this is one of those areas, but then once again, if you humanize it, this person also has children and things like that. They may be illegal, yes, but they're still a person, and should we subject them to subpar living just because,
But also, you can't just say that because, if you subjecting them to subpar living would simply be sending them back to the country that they originated from. That's why they came here, right? So, first off, aren't we doing that when we deport them in the first place? Is sending them back to subpar living?
Well, once again, if that study that you that said that I believe 87% or 83% of Mexicans flying on planes, how the fuck did they get on the plane to begin with? On my ass.
Exactly. All I'm saying is like, well, they're not fucking flying United because they'd be getting their asses beat and put off those planes. they're definitely not flying in any like popular, like they're getting on private planes, coming over or across, or around the border, and they're coming in from other places on private planes and being taken off at private airports and things like that. So it's not like they're just coming through like, and you'll catch them at like a state airport or something, like.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, don't think they have a lot of money. They'll pay about fucking $300-400 that they gotta work years and years and years for to get their asses on one of those fucking planes.
Well, once again, this is you can't really claim subpar living, But I suppose what I would say here, really, because once again, that would probably degrade someone else's paying the taxpayers' quality of living, because we are subjecting them to non-federal pay. So once again, this is like this person can then claim like, where the fuck is my tax dollars going? Because I'm not paying rent, you know. I mean, I'm paying my taxes. I mean, I don't know why I said rent, but I'm paying my taxes. But my city is looking like shit. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So then we have to ask, like, should these sanctuary cities then therefore put their taxpayers' dollars into the federal fund, or should they be allowed to use their taxpayers' money to improve their own city? And the federal government has no.
Well, they're still going to pay. They're still going to be taxed federal taxes.
And that's what I'm saying. So then why is, like, for instance, say like the nicest city in fucking Los Angeles happened to be a sanctuary city, and then because we officially cut federal funding to that city, now the quality of living there is a lot lower than the quality of living used to be, because now they no longer have the funds that they once had. So then say the city, so maybe this city basically, instead of like giving the funds over to the people, I don't know how it all works, but whoever collects the taxes, and then be like, yep, this is the funds we allocated from taxpayers and blah, 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 blah. And then they instead say, fuck that, we need these funds so we can properly feed our citizens and shit like that, pay for trade and these other resources that we need. So fuck the federal government. They're not doing shit for us just because a few immigrants are coming in, But
yeah,
once again, that sounds like a choice. Once again, all they got to do is report these immigrants. To me, all they have to do is report them. So once again, you can claim like, yeah, they have to report the immigrants, and then you get your federal funding back. If you're not like penalizing or not properly funding, like properly like reporting these people, then that's where the problem comes in at. So then you can claim like, yeah, well, it's your own damn fault. But once again, this is one of those areas where you can't really say yeah or nay. My personal thoughts.
I kind of agree. This guy, Joseph Halbergs from Sam Houston State, he said no, he doesn't believe they should be allowed federal funding due to the fact that they violated a federal law and are aiding and abetting foreign criminals. In every other nation on this planet, illegal entry carries a penalty of serious jail time or execution. He said, we just deport them. I think he took kind of a super harsh way. Just reading that, I kind of sense that he's probably one of those individuals that believes that illegals shouldn't even be over here. He's probably one of those guys running around screaming they're taking our jobs. But I agree, they did violate a federal law. So however they're penalized for that, it's okay. I mean, he is right though. Like, some countries do kill people and give the leaders and shit, they would be sustaining serious amounts of jail time. But I don't know. I don't think they should be taken. They should have federal funding taken away. That's kind of going over the top. That's kind of the government flexing its muscles. Look what I can do if you're not gonna fucking do what we want. And I think that's also why states should just go back to being their own states. We shouldn't be the United States and allow some government to tell everybody what to do. I think the power of each state should be their own. How each state is able to designate whether or not they want to allow people to smoke marijuana and stuff, and they can legalize that. That should go the same way. If I go to fucking California and commit a crime, my crime should be up to the state of California. I shouldn't be deported back to, the state that I currently live in and forced to go through a trial and stuff here. I think it should go through because I committed my crime in the state of California against the people of the state of California, so I should be judged by a jury of the people of the state of California, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? I just kind of think that some of this is pointless. I think each state should be its own state. It should be its own state. Should have its own state laws, its own state government in general. Like just the fact that like we have people in one state of Washington, like, well, I guess it's not Washington, it's the District of Columbia, literally the smallest state in America, but for some reason we allow those people to define our international policy. They get to choose and pick everything. I think that's kind of horseshit, that this small ass group of people get to kind of make everybody, you know, move in one direction. I think each state should have its own troops. Each state should have its own soldiers and such and stuff. And
well, that would make them its own country, not a state. You know, then we're no longer.
Yeah, but that's what I mean by state. That's what a state is, bro. That's what a state is. That's why we're called the United States.
Well, once again, to me, that would then divide us up into, that would make us Africa at that point. You know, just a wealthier version of Africa that succeeds.
We could still, you know, when it comes to international policies and things like that, we should still have, like, to me, like, that's what the House of Representatives should be here for. Is you have representatives from your state that would come together and everybody votes, like, are we going to go to war? Are we going to do this, and that? You know, like, that's what that should be for. All this extra shit that we got going on, like Congress and all that, like, what is Congress? It's like 12 people to get to decide how the fucking world works. Like, it's bullshit. It's fucking horseshit.
Well, Congress is more like, I would say 50 people. These Congress is elected by the people.
Oh, my bad.
State, whatnot, you know, I'm gonna have to round this up. I'm gonna have to bring this up because, like, I've been letting you go on for a while now. Hold on, let me finish. Now I'm gonna have to just go ahead and, you know, put some of this, like, in place. Like, we do have a say on the international level. We do have a say on most of these things, but the problem is most people ignore these things when they start choosing their representatives during the off-season election. People only come out when it's time to elect the president and then start bitching when things aren't working right. You know, instead of actually electing the people, because, like, you can elect Congress, you can elect your senators, you can elect all these people. Hell, in most states, you can elect your goddamn sheriff. You know, you can do these things. But most motherfuckers don't even vote for their own mayor, you know, because I don't know, I guess they don't think this person's important enough. Most people, but they damn sure, we get millions coming out voting for our president because they think this motherfucker is able to do something, but then want to bitch and moan when this person doesn't get shit done that they wanted done. Because really, what mattered was what was going on in your state, and your state-appointed officials, you know, your governor and shit like that. You didn't care about that stuff. This is the person that affects your day-to-day life. You don't care about these things, so then you feel you are entitled to, when it's time to vote for the president, be like, why isn't this motherfucker doing anything for us? You know, you can claim these things, but once again, this is one of those areas where you're like, well, you obviously didn't actually make a change, did you? Did you now? Like, for instance, most people are like, man, how the hell did this happen? The whole Republicans have control of everything now. Well, obviously, too many of you motherfuckers were united behind the banner that Trump has to be stopped. Instead of paying attention to the other things, the other machines that were going on around you, you know, while you motherfuckers were out here too busy, like, stop Trump. Millions of you motherfuckers came out to stop Trump, but guess what? You didn't pay attention to the other Republicans that were out there winning these elections that were actually coming into power. So when it all came crashing down, and the reason why they have so much power is because you silly gooses were too busy fighting over Trump and grabbing women by the pussy. You shouldn't even be bringing this up again, but while you
but you keep saying you. Quit saying you niggas as if I agree with these crazy ass motherfuckers.
Did I say niggas?
No, but a couple times you said you. You silly gooses. You kept saying you, trying to identify me with these bastards. And that's not what I was going for. I was more so speaking. I'm not saying you were, but I just wanted it to be duly noted that I do not support these bastards.
Well, once again, like, to me, one thing that I noticed during the election, to me, was that the Republican Party, to me, was way more united than the Democratic Party. I'm not saying I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican, but what I am saying is that's something that people should have took note of. Like when Trump came into power, it was obvious. It was obvious that he had some form of power and that he obviously was able to get shit done. So like when it was time and everybody succeeded Trump to basically be the main Republican, right? We were still basically bitching over like Hillary and Bernie Sanders. We were still fighting that battle, trying to figure out who's the better option. So this is one of those times where I have to say that what's the right way and what's the wrong way. You know, you can, like I said, you can call a duck, and you can call a goose. But at the end of the day, whose fault is it really?
True. Alright, my good men's out there, you know, it was definitely a good discussion. Definitely got more of these podcasts to come. Is there any closing remarks you got to say, Jerry?
Well, I would say for the most part, I think we've covered a lot of things, man. But this to me was overall really good. And I'm hoping that everything works out. Don't have nothing to do about that. I'm really hoping for this podcast that we can, I would say, like, get more topics, you know, pay attention, have our ear to the ground, and give our general opinion to me on some of the things that I feel like people don't really feel like they, like, some people, like, to me, what I feel may have been, because to me, sometimes it seems like some of the shit that people are saying sounds like dude, like we're either only getting half the story, or we're getting a story that's wrapped up in a story. So we don't get that whole story because we need the details of what happened earlier. You know, it's like when
that's cool, and we can always come right back to something. You know, we can always go do a little bit of research or some shit and come back to it if we gave some misinformation or if we didn't fully grasp the concept of something and gave an opinion that's not what we truly believe, due to the fact that we didn't have the full information. Also, I would like people to definitely encourage the viewers and stuff to drop some comments, and please be involved. Drop any questions, concerns, any things that you feel would help us, you know, or even yourself, you know, please. If anybody wants to be in on some of the streams, I've really encouraged that. Like, I would love that. I want everybody to feel equally represented. So, like, if it sounds like me and Jerry kind of got, like, you know, conflicting topics, you know, and me and him are kind of coming from two sides, but in this situation or that situation, there's actually 3 or 4 sides. Like, just let us know, man, because I definitely want everybody to feel equally represented throughout this entire duration of this. But appreciate everybody for stopping by, checking it out. Your boy King Wizard is out.
Alright, so Wiz is gone. I'm gonna wrap up this stream. I'd like to just say thank you to everyone. You can actually hit me up on Facebook at Terry Amring, and also I'd love to see you down in the comments and whatnot. Thank you, really. If you even made it to this part, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because honestly, I didn't even think most people would get this far. So, alright, bye.